Hey, what's going on? It's Mitch, and it's morning time, and I think it's Wednesday. Let me see. Uh, oh, it's Wednesday, November 14th. Um, I think it's really interesting, at least from the perspective I have right now, to see, um, to see the sun rise like that. And for sure, it's a really interesting sight to set my eyes on the sun as it rises. Um, Sometimes I see different animals out here. It's kind of neat. Um, where I've been sleeping, like that's actually where I lay down. I lay. Sometimes I'll lay there for a little bit and then I get up. So yeah. So I mean, but I slept a lot. This I think it was in the afternoon. So yeah, my schedule is definitely all over the place. I mean, like it's tough for me to keep a regular schedule sometimes, to be honest. Um, because yeah, sometimes I get into sporadic things. Um, but overall, I just I try to balance stuff um, like I got to be smart with how. I owe so much money for my student loans that I gotta like try to not freak out over that. But just like make payments that I can pay, and it's like yeah, it's like coming up with the like specific percentages and stuff. So like I don't always know the best stuff. I just try to make at least make more than the minimum payment each month. Um, and I actually started paying it down early because that'll cut down on the interest that I will be losing out on and stuff. But it's like for sure, like having a lot of debt is, um, it's like it's I just gotta I gotta be careful of the things that I agree to and the things that I especially or for sure like the things that I sign, um, because yeah, debts are like I want to make sure I just make the payments that I can pay, and be realistic about my budget and uh more yeah I know I can't take on more debts because that wouldn't be smart for me, because more I have enough debt. I have so much debt, it's ridiculous. I can choose to not use my credit cards, um but as far as my student loans go, that's already I don't have all I can do is make payments on it, because it's just going to accumulate more and more interest, as time goes on. And so the interest is really, you know, what I lose out on. But the more I pay, the more I pay now, the less I pay later on. So I just got used to giving up money to organizations that have lent me money for the funding of my education. And for my recent certificate, actually, I didn't get a single dime of it. It actually went all to Carrington College. So, but you know, uh, I'm still responsible for it though because I signed um, two promissory notes. So that's on me. I just have like so much debt, but I shouldn't. It's not gonna. I still gotta go on living life. I can't let something like that cripple me for sure. Okay, but for sure I can say that I don't really feel comfortable taking on more debts, because I feel like I have enough already for sure, like enough debts. Um, So yeah, this is what I'm looking at. This is what it's like here. It's just rocks and boulders, plants. There's animals that live around here. Also, there's some rodents that actually live under there. Sometimes I'll see birds. Yesterday I saw a pretty cool looking bird, a black bird. I wasn't able to get a photo of it, but in real life it was pretty interesting to see something like that. Another cool thing is is looking up at the stars at night. Because in the city there's a lot of light pollution from all the traffic lights and car lights and house lights and things like that, street lights. So going out, sort of distancing myself a little bit from that city, and going more into wilderness type in areas. It makes it a little bit easier to see the stars at night. I mean, that's kind of a beautiful thing. I would say that's beautiful. Um, it's definitely, breathing in the air is it's kind of nice because the smog when I walk around on sidewalks and streets and things like that. For sure there's a lot of smog, um, pollution from cars and stuff. I can't control that. But when I'm out here, I don't have to breathe in that stuff as much. So that's kind of nice also. So I guess I'm looking at it feels good to be kind of cold too. Um, One thing I've discovered, or at least in my experience, is that in controlled environments, like being inside, sometimes the comfort of it is sometimes it's almost sometimes it's too comfortable, where it's uh I mean, for sure the human body wants to protect itself, to maintain warmth um and stability. I mean, for sure the human body has, as a biological creature, it wants to maintain homeostasis. The human body wants to maintain that sort of happy medium. It doesn't want to be, it doesn't want to be too hot. It doesn't want to be too cold. It doesn't want to be too bored, but it doesn't want to have too many changes at the same time. So I mean, having everything too easy or too good for a long time is probably one way of can weaken the body. I would say having it too good or too easy, at least is how it seems to me. So I mean, it's for sure from the challenges that we grow. The challenges in life are the things. If it's the things sometimes that push the limits. Things that push the limits of the human body are many times the things that it builds endurance, it builds stamina. Sometimes it takes creative thinking to solve certain problems. One thing I'm trying to figure out is how I can, with all the technology, I'm trying to figure out how to log into my original Gmail account. Because I guess the password on it was changed, and I don't remember changing the password on it. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's something I'm trying to figure out. I mean, there's always more to do. There's always more ideas. There's always more, to explore, in life. For sure, I've been able to. I really have been able to experience a lot more peace and serenity, and the valuable silence. the valuable silence, being out here. Sometimes just to experience silence is like, has been for me a challenge, just to experience silence, the sound of nothing, or minimal stuff. I mean, even out here, like I said before, even out here, I can still hear the noise of traffic and vehicles and stuff and airplanes and stuff. Um, so there's really like, I mean, what I've discovered is, it is possible to distance myself from civilization, like to an extent, not completely though, because things in civilization are like really good right now. It seems like, but there's really no way. There's really no way I've found to actually to be alone in this world, because I can go away from humans, but there's still creatures of the wild and stuff. So there's really, as far as I can tell, there's no way that I can be completely alone in this world. Because if I'm not, I can be away from people, but then I start to come into contact with more of the, animals and bugs and the creatures that live in the world, that have lived in the world before people have, So I guess what I'm saying is there's no way I can be totally alone. I mean, it's definitely like, to be away from people, to be out here by myself is definitely like, is something. There's something interesting about it. I've had to think creatively on something like, I mean, just building my bed, for example. I mean, I had to come up with that. I mean, I'm pretty much, I'm good with it now. I've used it for, I don't know, the past 40-50 days or something. So I mean, it serves me good enough. I mean, yeah, stability is definitely important. Too much stability is kind of boring though, so I mean, it's good to mix it up, I guess. On the topic of like starting a business, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely a good idea for. I mean, but I don't know. I don't really know a whole lot about that. I mean, maybe a little bit. I mean, I'm good with some stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of hesitant to start on something like that. I mean, but I mean, it could be worth it. I really don't know. One thing I do know is that these are amazing. These are actually really amazing. This product right here. This is one of the products that I got in. I talked about how I was gonna get a shipment, and I went actually. Because there is no mailing address where I'm at. This is where I'm at. There is no mailing address here, you see. There's no mailboxes around here. So what I did is, for my shipment, is I used actually, I was gonna originally use a local post office, but then I did, and then there was a shipping issue because they sent it via FedEx, and it was, the post office is a USPS post office. So I called them, and there was this whole thing on where can I have a shipment sent without using a physical because I'm not using any actual address. So what I did is I'm literally I'm on a mountain, for real. I live on a mountain, so there's no there's no mailboxes that close to here. So really what I did is I is I used the FedEx mail pickup and drop off center at the Albertsons grocery store on Boulder Highway, down like far down that way. Like I used that, and I found out that there's ways to. There's also another mail FedEx office like right over there at the store. Over there, like is a Vons, and there's close to it is a FedEx mail center. So I found out that there's places you can use to send packages without actually having a mailing address. So that was something new I learned, and I was able to get some products yesterday, like this, for example. Like I had one of these yesterday, these almond butter bars, and I know for sure, there's definite advantages of the fresh produce and garden grown stuff for sure. I don't doubt that at all. Grown a few, worked on a few gardens myself and tasted stuff from gardens, is for sure like a really valuable skill and asset and source of nutrition and all that, and beauty and everything else. For me and I definitely try to incorporate fresh produce, it's fresh greens, kale, lettuces, onions, and all, different types of tomatoes and stuff. Those are really great for me. I mean, what I'm doing now though is because I am on a mountain, and I have no access to refrigerators and things like that. So right now I'm sort of focusing on I'm focusing on like products that have a long shelf life, and I was able to actually like order chocolate products like this. I was gonna order some before, but it was too hot and stuff like that would have melted. Like I've seen a lot of stuff like this can melt when it's really hot, but right now it's not that hot, so I can safely order products like this, like chocolate bar. This one looks like it's a chocolate bar that's filled with almond butter, and it has some like really good salt in there too. I mean, I was kind of thinking about ordering some more. There's also some super berry ones additionally that have some sort of like acai berry filling to it. I thought those are interesting. And also on the iHerb website, there's some really good chocolate heart products, I was looking at and stuff. Those are good. I mean, for someone like me, those are good. I think for my situation where I sleep right there. And on the question, like, what are my protections from the elements? Because for sure that's a legitimate concern. Am I protected from the elements? I mean, right now, I'm in the elements right now, and I'm fine. But at night at night when I do go to sleep, or in the day, or whenever I get really tired, it sort of is important, for sure. So this, I'm gonna keep this with me for sure, because I will be enjoying it later on. But so I mean, I talked about it a little bit before. So I've been using this as my bed. It's messed up right now, but I used, I put the blanket over the cardboard. I used this comforter, and then this is like the last layer. It's made out of hundreds of grocery bags connected into a fabric, so it's like it seems somewhat waterproof. The rain was one issue before, because it hasn't rained in a long time, but that was a real concern because I was completely wet. Like, I was shivering in the cold, because it does get cold up here. But one of the real concerns when it was raining was that my bed was completely soaked with rainwater. It was completely soaked with rainwater. So, yeah, that happened. But all I can do, I don't predict that it's going to rain for a long time, but um, really, I can't prepare for everything, every possible, all this weather, that weather. It's going to rain. There might be a tornado here. There might be a hurricane. There might be an economic collapse. There might be a bunch of people that come and destroy all this stuff. I can't prepare for everything. So such is life, So I just do the best I can, with what I have. And yeah, I'm good with that. I mean, I try to make sure I keep stuff charged too. Like, if I go, the only way I can keep my phone and my phone and power pack thing charged is to actually go into the city and charge stuff, and use the Wi-Fi so that I can upload things like this. And well, this is definitely a clip that for me is a bit more on the lengthier side for sure. I can definitely keep going on and on, especially being out here where there's not that many distractions, and sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes sometimes it gets a little boring, but I find ways to occupy my time, like doing this, for example, or making my bed, for example, or bringing stuff up here, or for example, or taking trash out, for example. I stay busy, and I think it is important that I be able to. I think it is kind of important that that I am able to log into my original Gmail account, because that's the email account I have affiliated with my Social Security online account, and so it's important for me to log into that to see more about benefits information and stuff like that I do use. And I've been able to get by fine without that, but I should look into it, I think. Oh, I read another article about how about self-control. I mean, for sure, I think a certain amount of discipline is definitely good. Like, discipline when it comes to disciplining my mind or my body, or what I choose to participate in, or what I read, what I write, what kind of videos do I make, how do I speak. Self-control, because if I was only impulsive and I was like, oh, I want this, or oh, I need that, or this or that, it probably wouldn't be good. So sometimes I gotta exercise restraint over myself, and sometimes I gotta not do the things I kind of want to do, because there can be consequences. So too much of that, though, is enough to drive me crazy. For sure. If I'm always like, oh, I'm not gonna do this because I'm worried about the consequence, or oh, this or that. I mean, some discipline is good. Like, if I was just to do whatever, or walk wherever across the street, or just run across the street when I think it seems like a good idea, I could get hit by a car or something. So there could be a consequence. Or, for example, I got a jaywalking ticket. So that was a consequence I faced for just doing whatever I felt like. So for self-control is good, but too much is not good. So I kind of got to sort of balance everything out. And also, I accept that things are not always going to be okay. There's not always going to be an ideal situation. There's not always going to be an ideal time. I'm not always going to be in an ideal place. You know, I'm just like, I accept the uncertainties of life. You know, things are not always perfect, and it's never gonna be that way. And you know what? I'm fine with that. All right, so I'll end it on that. I could keep going on and on. I appreciate your view. Every view does count. Um, I did smoke weed the other day. It was the Super Silver LA strain because I was looking for something specific. When I was at the dispensary, I asked one of the female employees that was working there. I was like, hey, I'm looking for a strain for something that's good for reducing stress and reducing pain, and results in has euphoria as a side effect or as a result of it. So in other words, something that will make me feel good. I was looking for something that will make me feel good and reduce the pain. And so she pointed me out to the Super Silver LA, that specific strain, because there's just sort of like how there's different vitamins for different functions in the body. There's also different terpenes and cannabinoids that have different functions in the human body, and there's still like a lot of research going on, as far as like what are the effects of CBD, what does THC do, how does it affect bones, and how does it affect memory, how does it affect judgment. There's all sorts of studies on that, because for sure the cannabis industry, now that it's like becoming increasingly legal around the US, more dispensaries are popping up, and there's more marijuana products that are available for purchase legally. So, I mean, that's kind of an exciting thing to me, because now it's like, there's a wide variety. There's even like vape pens that have THC in them, THC oil, and those are products that I use myself. So I mean, I try to talk about stuff that I use on myself personally. I do smoke cannabis from time to time. I know that there's detrimental effects to my lungs. But so stress is also detrimental too. But yeah, there for sure there's a pro and con and everything. I guess really it was just my way of trying to like deal with stress and sometimes the pain of life. But pain is a part of life, no matter what. Too much pain is not that good though, because who wants to be in extreme, excruciating pain? Pain is like the body's warning sign. If I trip over some of these rocks, and I scrape my ankle on a rock or something, that's my body saying like, hey, I gotta stop and be careful. So some pain is good, but too much pain is like not that good. Pain. Not totally sure what I want to do today. I could go for a walk. I try to take trash down from here every time I come up here, and just I'll throw it in one of the dumpsters down there. Yeah, overall, I did need to be able to express these things. It did help me. It does help me to be able to talk freely like this. And yeah, it's just something I needed to get some of the stuff off my chest. I had to be able to communicate it, out loud. Um, and sometimes one of the best forms of communication, despite what the perceptions of it may be to me, um, I can sometimes sort through my thoughts when I speak to my phone like this and film it. Um, like, there's something about being by myself on a mountain like this that is like, I'm able to have like thoughts, and I'm just able to um, I'm just able to do some things that I wouldn't otherwise be able to do. I mean, not in all situations though, but um, I guess just within a half hour, the sky turned from like, it was red earlier, and now it's like sort of like grayish tint. I mean, you can see it for sure. There's things that are beyond words, concepts that are beyond language. Um, Looks like there's a bird flying out there. All right, then. This is Mitch again, and I got to figure out what I'm going to do next, because I don't know. I mean, I have a few ideas. All right, then. Let me know what you're interested in. This is Mitch again, signing out. Ah! All right, have a good one.